Hello everyone, this is ACHAI Akai, and we are in the semifinals of the SCBG Open 2v2 tournament, and right now we are in game number 3 between Reibisch and Jetto here, facing off against Azreal and Bubba. And the games so far, I'm not gonna lie, have been pretty one-sided. Azreal and Bubba just showing how big of a force they are to be reckoned with. And they, as I mentioned in the first game, they have not lost a game yet in this tournament. So far undefeated on their way to the finals here if they can pull out yet one more win. And both games, as I mentioned, have been pretty one-sided, so I'm kind of honestly expecting the same thing here unless Reibisch and Jetto can really, figure out what's going on and pull out a win here by surprising them with some kind of a secret build they may have been working on, like the crane kick or something from Karate Kid. I don't know. I'm waiting to see if they've got some trick up their sleeve, but of course, 13 is going to be casting this game with me once again, and I would like to say real quick too, thanks for Shock Strategy Guide putting up the prize pool for this tournament. We would not have been able to do this without him, and we have a fantastic list of prizes going to the first place team. So thank you to him, and thank you to everybody participating so far. And we are going to get into this game right now. 13, what do you expect to see in this game once again? Obviously, last game, Reibisch and Jetto once again getting taken down relatively easily by Azreal and Bubba. But they did try something different, which, as I mentioned, I wanted to give them a little bit of respect for that because they weren't just beating their heads up against the wall, trying the same old strategy. Do you expect to see them once again try to mix things up, or are you looking for the same old on this one?
Well, I think if I was in this situation where I just felt a little bit unmatched, kind of my back was against the wall, I'm down 0-2 in a tournament setting, I would probably just try to do some high pressure on these guys. They have to know that Bubba and Azreal as well are just macroing up, fast expanding. And it would just be a really effective strategy, I think, to just go high pressure on these guys, see if they can catch them off guard, time a push perfectly. That's what I would do. Yeah,
absolutely. And as we've seen in the past 2 games, Bubba has fast expanded, getting his his second hatchery rather, pretty soon after starting his spawning pool. As we can see though, he has got his spawning pool almost finished and has not yet put down a hatchery. So perhaps switching up his gameplay just a little bit, assuming that his opponents are going to expect it this game, or perhaps he is just trying to go for a little bit early pressure himself and maybe just try to end this last game a little bit early. We'll see exactly what he tries to do here as far as changing it up. But going back to the base of Reibisch, it looks like he has his spawning pool up and running as well, getting some drones into that first Vespene Geyser so that he can start to get that speedling upgrade as soon as it's available. And Jetto, of course, walling off his base with 2 barracks and 1 supply depot, it looks like, so he is going to be safe against any kind of early Zergling rush. Although when you have 1 supply depot in your wall like this, of course, you do have to be very aware of the possible Baneling bust.
Yeah, and again, it looks like Azreal and Bubba are just getting a little bit ahead on the income again, and that's a situation that Jetto and Reibisch don't want to get themselves in.
Yeah, definitely, and we do see that the hatchery is going down now for Bubba, so delaying his hatchery a little bit so that he can get those first few lings out, and Reibisch immediately spotting this with his Overlord, which was up on the corner here of this cliff, and it looks like he is going to try to get up some quick defenses here, throwing down a spine crawler here and trying to get a bunch more Zerglings out. So here's a bunch more Zerglings. Going to try to defend with this, and he actually has some help coming from his ally. You can see purple moving across the minimap there as well. Going to try to defend the spine crawler until he can get up and running, and it looks like they are going to be able to force him back, at least initially. These Marines are not going to be enough to take down these Zerglings before they take out the Zerglings of Bubba. And here come the Marines from Jetto, going to be able to hold this off, it looks like, without too much trouble. So already, Reibisch and Jetto putting up a little bit more of a fight than they have in the past few games.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought that Jetto and Reibisch would be the ones that needed to do that, that high pressure, but it looks like Bubba and Azreal are trying to catch him a little bit off guard by just going heavy pressure early on, and it didn't work that time.
Yeah, absolutely, and as you can see, Jetto and Reibisch getting a little bit of life breathed into them because they were able to hold off that first attack, and actually the speedling upgrade is finished for Bubba, so those speedlings are going to be very dangerous for those Marines in small groups because obviously once you get the surround on those Marines, Zerglings are very, very deadly, and there's no speed upgrade yet for Reibisch, so he definitely needs to work on getting that up and running in order to take on these speedlings. And as you can see, here come some of the speedlings right now from Bubba, doing some serious damage here against the Zerglings that are getting a little bit stray, but fortunately there are enough Marines and Zerglings to take on those speedlings despite their ability to get that quick surround out. And it actually looks like Azreal getting an early expansion up as well, so apparently feeling pretty comfortable despite the fact that their early aggressive tactics have not yet paid off.
Yeah, and I think this would be the time for Jetto and Reibisch to hit right now. I'm not sure if they should be hitting Bubba, but Azreal is putting up that expansion. They might be able to take it out before it completes.
Yeah, absolutely, and they haven't even scouted this ramp yet, to my knowledge, which they would, if they would scout that, they would see that there is not a hard wall off there, and they would be able to sneak their Zerglings, especially if Reibisch has a speed upgrade, just run them straight up in there and do some damage to his economy right away. And as you can see, he still does not have that speed upgrade, and very, very unfortunate timing on trying to get that hatchery down, and all of his speedlings all of his Zerglings rather, out of position and going to get mowed down by these speedlings. And I don't think he's going to have enough to defend at this point. Although there's one Baneling trying to come up. If he can get that Baneling up and running before the Speedlings can kill it. No, he cannot. That could have been crucial because of how much these Speedlings were clumped up when trying to attack against that Queen. And here come the Zerglings that Reibisch is trying to get to defend. He does have the speed upgrade now, but that looks like it's going to be a little bit too little, too late. And he loses all of his Harvesters in the last couple of Banelings that are trying to morph. And it looks like, once again, this is going to be a relatively early GG from Reibisch and Jetto, losing the tank there that was trying to help him out. But there are just so many Speedlings. There's not really much that Reibisch can do about it right now. And Jetto apparently going to try to move out with some Marines and one tank. Oh, nope, apparently deciding that was a bad idea. Going to move back into his base and put that supply depot wall back up and running. But yeah, as I mentioned, I think the game is already over. Jetto probably just trying to get a little bit more play out of this game here. The siege tank going to defend a little bit, but I don't think that that's going to be enough for him to win this 1v2. But anyways, we are going to be moving into the finals next, and as of right now, it looks like Bubba and Azreal are going to be moving on. And as I mentioned before, Darren C and Fab Integral won the other semifinal match, so they are going to be playing in the finals against Bubba and Azreal if they are indeed able to pull out a win here in this game. So I expect to see some very good games. Bubba and Darren C are both in the top 200, and they are very, very high caliber 1v1 players. Fab Integral and Azreal are not top 200 1v1 players, but they are very solid, and as you can see throughout this tournament, they've been dominating. At least Azreal and Bubba have, and Fab Integral and Darren C able to get some really, really close games together, but they've always managed to pull out the win, so showing that they can definitely keep it together in a tight, tense situation, able to really pull out some clutch wins in some of their games as well. And a great example of that was the semifinals, which if you have not watched, you definitely need to watch because those games were absolutely back and forth.
It looks like Azreal's going to drop off some units here on the back of Jetto's base. Should be enough to take him down. He's moved the majority of his units to that middle base, the gold expansion.
Yeah, it looks like there's only 4 Marines defending, and a tank is coming out, and it looks like he is producing some more Marines. But there are a lot of Hellions, and they do have the pre-igniter upgrade, which the blue flame upgrade. Sorry, I believe that is the technical term for it. But with the blue flame upgrade, they are going to be able to take down those Marines relatively quickly. Oh, and they are not going to need to, it looks like, because there was a Baneling bust and a ton of Speedlings running in the front of Jetto's base. And I would expect to see a GG here pretty soon. Apparently not, though. It looks like there is another base up in the middle being defended by Jetto. He has one bunker down, putting down another bunker, and there are a couple of siege tanks there.
They're still holding off hope, man.
Yeah.
They must really want that headset.
Man, I'll tell you what, that headset is so worth it. No, but if you guys have not seen the prize pool yet, we've actually do have some. I'll just go ahead and plug these prizes real quick. If you have not seen the prize pool, we have a Creative Fatality gaming headset, a Satec Eclipse keyboard with it's got like the red Indiglow like backlighting. What keyboard
do you use, Akaya?
I use that exact same keyboard, except for mine's got a blue light in it instead of a red light. But we've got that gaming keyboard. We've also got a Razer Death Adder mouse and a official StarCraft 2 Marauder mousepad. So some really cool prizes going to the first place team, and once again, thank you to Shock Strategy Guide for putting up the prize money so that we could get this prize pool together and really draw the attention to this tournament that it deserves, since it is one of a rare breed, this 2v2 tournament that we never see anybody hosting. But it looks like no more bunkers going to be going down for this base because there is now creep to deal with.
What's your opinion on just the competitiveness of a 2v2 tournament like this? I happen to think it's pretty competitive. You know, it's not what people are used to, but I really enjoy just the high pace, you know, the non-stop action, and we see some really, really creative strategies that you don't see obviously in a 1v1.
Yeah, absolutely. 2v2 is definitely a different animal, and it's very much more competitive than 3v3 or 4v4, just because 3v3 and 4v4 generally is a crapshoot, and it takes you really can't do anything competitively in 3v3 or 4v4 without playing with people who you actually know and can strategize with. But I do think that 2v2 is very competitive, as we watch these banelings just absolutely decimate this hatchery in one shot. But I do think that 2v2 is competitive. It's just not seen as competitive as the 1v1 scene. But I've definitely loved some of the games that we've seen here so far. And I am very excited to see how the finals turn out. It looks like Azreal and Bubba did manage to take out Jetto and Reibisch, so they are going to move on to the finals. We are going to see a fantastic finals between two very high-level teams. I'm excited to see who manages to pull out the win on this one. But we're going to move on to the finals now. Thanks for watching, guys. GG.
GG.